This is the Barbecue Central Radio Show, which is recorded live each Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
The Barbecue Central Radio Show is being brought to you by the Barbecue Guru, the original creators of automatic temperature control devices, now offering 4 different models for you to choose from. Rest easy knowing that the Barbecue Guru is controlling your pit temperature so you can get on with your life. Visit bbqguru.com or call 800-288-GURU for more information. And by Fred's Music and Tasty Licks BBQ Supply, your online barbecue and grilling superstore. From cookers to grills, wood chips and chunks, and everything in between. Also be sure to try the Tasty Licks barbecue brand of rubs and sauces. Check Fred out online at tastylicksbbq.com. And by Stephen DeFranco Jewelers. Located in beautiful Willoughby, Ohio, Stephen DeFranco Jewelers is a family-owned and operated business looking to service the great folks of the barbecue and grilling world. Get free shipping and big discounts by mentioning my name and the term Barbecue Brother. Check out their inventory by visiting StephenDeFranco.com. And by Butcher Barbecue, with 30 years of experience in retail, wholesale, meat markets, food service, and customer service. Using that experience, everything they do and sell at Butcher's Barbecue comes from real-world knowledge. Check out their award-winning spices, sauces, marinades, and injections by visiting ButcherBBQ.com. Always trust your butcher.
And by iGrill. The iGrill is a Bluetooth-enabled cooking thermometer that allows you to monitor the temperature of your food and smoker or grill from up to 200 feet away. Using the free iGrill app for your iPhone, iPad, and Android devices, you can set preferred temperatures, and your smart device will alert you when it's ready. It's perfect for cooking steaks to perfection or low and slow smokers overnight. Head to iGrill Inc., that's the letter I, grillinc.com to learn more. And by Barbecuer's Delight Wood Pellets, the barbecue wood pellet choice of competition cooks and backyard hacks just like me. The perfect blend of 2/3 oak and 1/3 flavor wood gives you that right BTU burn and flavor that you're looking to get all over your meat with smoky goodness. Visit bbqrsdelight.com. And by R&O Smokers, a custom pit builder using innovation and art in each of their cutting-edge, offset, and vault-style barbecue pits. Located in the heart of Texas near Fort Worth, Granbury has been the home to R&O Smokers since the beginning. R&O Smokers has continued to widen its range using visionary planning both on the design level and the quality of craftsmanship to bring their customers the finest custom pits on the market. Please get in contact with Billy, B-I-L-L-I-E _RO Smokers at yahoo.com or Tony at Tony _RO Smokers at yahoo.com or visit their main website, the letter O, RNO Smokers.com. And by Green Mountain Grills. Discover something you're really going to love. Cooking with pellets. Green Mountain Grills are widely available across the country. Top-of-the-line manufacturing, but not the highest in price. Visit greenmountaingrills.com to get started on your pellet adventure today.
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
All right. Good evening and welcome back to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things important to the world of barbecue and grilling, broadcasting live and direct from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evening. First one of the year, gang. How about it? Let's get it on. Gotta get it on. Got no choice but to get it on. You want to jump in on the show tonight, you can do so. One of two different ways. It's a toll-free phone call, 877-448-0433. You can also email the show if you would like, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you did not get the newsletter. By the way, everything else you want to know about the show can be found at the website, thebbqcentralshow.com. Coming up in about 13 minutes from now, there was a regular occurring segment on the now defunct Wednesday show. But on Tuesday, he's here once a month as well, the first Tuesday of each and every month. Ask Dr. Barbecue. Ray Lampe rejoins me. And then around 9:35, the creator of the Outdoor Cooking Channel, Kevin Bevington, is back, and we will be talking about all the good stuff that FBA has to offer and how that Team of the Year thing shook out at the end of the year last year. And we were having quite a lively exchange a couple weeks ago about that whole thing. You would remember that Jim Elser finished ahead of the other two people in the overall, but one of them overcame his lead in the overall Team of the Year standings and took the overall championship. I didn't really understand that, and I gave my general take on how can a team finish ahead of two teams but still on a Team of the Year, blah, blah. So we got into it a little bit in a good way, in a challenging way, over the emails, and I said, you know what, let's save it. Let's get on the air first show of the year, and let's have at it and see what goes on. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So we're going to do it at 9:35. And then we'll move in the second hour. Joining me, two first-timers to this show, backyarders, the grand champ and the reserve grand champ of the Slap Yo Daddy Harry Sue's Backyarder event. It's Outlaw Barbecue and Rooster Q. Joining me, that would be Steve Botkin of Outlaw and Taylor Jonasson and Kevin Schallert from Rooster Q. So we do give a lot of attention to what some would call the pros of the circuit, if you will. And this will definitely give us a little bit more of a taste on the backyard side of things. And looking forward to talking with those guys. And then helping me round out the show. Out of the bullpen, as it were, Heath Hall Pork Barrel Barbecue is in and what perhaps some would say a very controversial list that Pork Barrel Barbecue put up at the end of the year, pretty much rolling through the majority of December. The 2013 25 most influential people in barbecue. By and large, people debating and giving their 2 cents on who should have been on it and who shouldn't have been on it and when mistake. The list was great up until this guy, and oh, you had me up until then. This list is bull crap now. So on and so forth. And I said, hey, Heath, you've been generating a lot of controversy as usual. Why not, to close it out strong in a strong fashion in 2014 in the first show, come on, let's talk about it, and we'll look at some people's comments, and I'll get some insight from you as to how you and Brent put this list together and what your thought was. And he's like, yeah, I'm down. Let's do that thing. So huge show planned for the first one right out of the gate. Heath Hall at 10:35. Steve Botkin, Kevin Schallert, Taylor Jonasson from Outlaw Barbecue and Rooster Q, respectively. And at 9:35, Kevin Bevington. 9:14, Dr. Barbecue, Ray Lampe for the Ask Dr. Barbecue segment. Plus your phone calls and emails. And, of course, we have two giveaways at some point tonight as well. 877-448-0433. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. The 2 bits of contact information in case you want to jump in with me. Make your Facebook post right now. Let everybody know the show's on. You get in the audio feed at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com, which just showed up on my ticker right there. And then, obviously, you can get the video at outdoorcookingchannel.com. If you have Roku, download the Outdoor Cooking Channel app. Get it there as well. And, of course, a myriad of replay opportunities. Subscribe to the show on iTunes. You can go to YouTube. You can go to Outdoor Cooking Channel. Of course, the main website. All that great stuff. So, and don't forget, you can get the meat, your barbecue meats from me right at the Barbecue Central Meat Show. Big announcement. You heard it here first. first show of 2014 in the new Barbecue Central Radio Network studio. Finally, we have come back. To the old, well, now the new confines. Well, the old in a very new way. But the new confines of the Barbecue Central Radio Network studios. This is the first time that we have broadcast from this basement, although for the last 7 weeks we were broadcasting live and direct from the basement of Amy and Ed Levan's house, of the Wycliffe Levans, which I owe them dear, allowing me to do that show while the house was in transition. But we are now in the basement, as you would know. And really, you wouldn't know if I was doing the show from a basement or high atop the Stolen Police Recovery Network building in the middle of the street, because I got the green screen thing working. But let me see here. Did I screw? Yeah, okay, I screwed that all up. Well, first of all, that's a different camera angle, but I gotta get this shot ready for a little bit later in the show. Perfect. So take it from me. It's a new show. We're here. Well, not a new show, but it's a new studio. So, I can't wait for somebody to finally come in. For somebody to come in and experience the new studio. There's plenty of room here. And boy, am I just overjoyed to be back at my own house. And although I, again, appreciate the fact that I was able to do the show at somebody else's house, in the meantime, being able to end the show and just go right up to bed instead of making a car trip, gravy in my book. So first show in. It's all good. It's 2014. Hope everybody had a great Christmas, New Year's, and so forth, and you're ready for a great year of barbecue shows. Let me tell you who's not ready for a great year of barbecue shows. That would be a barbecue in Jacksonville, Florida. They can kill you. For instance, early Sunday, a man who police were told had been beaten in the head with a baseball bat was found conscious but unable to speak and rolling on the floor at his house at the 11,000th block of North Santa Fe Street on the south side. Another man at the house, when police arrived shortly after midnight, told them Joshua Andrew Hines, 31, who was taken to the hospital but soon died from the injuries, had invited guests over to watch Saturday football playoffs. Playoffs? Obviously not in Cleveland. Late in the night, after most of the other guests had gone, Hines and another man began arguing over the proper cutting of barbecue. The witness said he tried to calm the dispute down, then turned away. When he looked back after hearing a noise, the other man, who was identified as Chico, of course, was holding a baseball bat that normally was propped at the front of the door, and Hines was on the floor. Sorry. Get that big stuff out of here. Look, if it's one thing I know that you don't want to talk about, religion, politics, and how to cut barbecue. Never do that. Get that big stuff out of here. Perhaps not necessarily in that order. Perhaps you'd never want to talk about how to cut barbecue properly first, and then, religion, politics, whatever. But those who know, and it should be fair warned in advance, don't talk how to cut barbecue with other people unless you are ready to take Louisville Sluggers to the melon and die. I know some of you are, but if some of you are ready to stake your very lives on the proper cutting of barbecue, well, you might want to move down to Jacksonville and start up a little bit. Dr. Barbecue coming up out of the break. Gang, if you missed out on the holiday season savings, you are now in the proverbial doghouse because you screwed it all up again. Luckily for you, merely 6 days after the beginning of the new year, Stephen DeFranco is still here to help, still here to make sure that while you missed some really big days the last couple weeks, you can still have time to turn it around. First of all, visit his website, StephenDeFranco.com. That's Stephen, D-I-F-R-A-N-C-O, StephenDeFranco.com. And then peruse the inventory. Of course, you know Steve is a watchaholic. I've bought or purchased two of my watches from Steve directly. The Bulova Accutron, the Bulova Precisionist. One is the very high end of the high end. The other one is the most accurate watch ever on the face of the earth. And you can peruse the whole inventory right there. Now, once you've found what you like, do me this favor. Call in directly. 440-943-2700. That's 440-943-2700. And once you make that call in, ask for Steve if he doesn't answer directly. Steve is the owner of the store. He's not a sales guy. He's not somebody who's going to say, let me go ask the manager. He owns it. He makes final decisions. You've reached the decision maker. Say, hey, Steve, I listen to the show all the time. Reppy's always talking about how I should call you. You have great quality. You're not going to oversell me on anything. And that, hey, you're the guy. Plus, you're going to hook me up with a great price. And then let him take over from there. He's going to ask you questions along the way. He's going to offer you maybe free engraving on the watch. Of course, you have the free gift wrapping, the batteries for life. He'll set it to whatever time zone you're in. As it stands, of course, shipping always free on all items. Maybe you're looking for rings or chains or necklaces, anklets, artisan wood bowls, Venetian glass jewelry, the Pandora-style bracelets, all there at Stephen DeFranco's. Again, StephenDeFranco.com, StephenDeFranco.com, and call 440-943-2700. All right, we're back with Ask a Dr. Barbecue right after this. Stick around. Be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, we're back. 877-448-0433. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Email in from John Dawson. Congrats on the new palatial BCRN studio. Thank you. I appreciate that. Of course, I'll have to get my reciprocal concealed carry permits first in order to swing by. John, get it. You're not going to be sorry. You won't be sorry that you did. I swear. All right, let me make sure that I have my proper items here. And oh, geez. All right, hold on a second. I almost screwed up right away. Nobody's going to be able to hear Dr. Barbecue if I don't do that right. All right. Let's go ahead and get this thing going right now.
Have you got questions about barbecue or grilling, maybe as a hobby or even a business?
Hey,
looking to get an expert's point of view? Why not ask Dr. Barbecue? You can submit your questions by clicking on the Ask Dr. Barbecue tab on the website. The doctor is in. Here's Ray Lampe with his nurse, Greg Rempe. Dr. Barbecue.
That's right. It is Dr. Barbecue time, ladies and gentlemen. Ray, how are you, buddy?
Good, Greg. How about yourself?
Doing absolutely fabulous, Ray. Happy New Year to you. Hopefully we're finding you in good tidings and spirits.
I'm very good. I've got a little free time coming up and a little vacation. Finished up the last of last year's work yesterday, so all is well.
All right. There was if I'm not mistaken, you were doing that big promotion with the website that I was very long in nature, and I'm not going to remember. What was it?
Cookoffbeforekickoff.com.
That's right, Cookoff Before Kick. So how did that end up going for you, Ray?
It was great. We actually finished it up Sunday. We were out in Pasadena for the BCS championship game. It was great. I mean, we gave away more. We were giving away Coke Zeros and samples. We did 125 recipes and came down to the Auburn recipe, which was a pimento cheese stuffed jalapeno wrapped in bacon.
Oh.
And a M&M quesadilla, cream cheese smeared on a flour tortilla, bunch of M&Ms in there and grilled. And everybody that came up tried the 2 samples. Every now and then we'd sit somebody down and judge it, and we had a blast with it. It was really a lot of fun.
Which one ended up taking it?
The pimento cheese stuffed jalapeno wrapped in bacon was the big winner this week.
Wow, man, that sounds like it would go very tasty with a brewski or 5.
Yeah, that was the Auburn recipe, though. No, actually, it went much better with a Coke Zero, Greg.
No, oh, yes, I'm sorry. Coke Zero, of course. Well placed. Ray, a number of different things that we're going to be hitting on tonight. The first thing I wanted to get your opinion on, because I've actually been fielding a lot of emails from people asking me to take a look at their barbecue pitmaster submission videos, and there's a new season that's going to be out there. Have you ever given thought to getting on that version of the show? I mean, I know many lifetimes ago that was a different story, but as it sits currently in the format that it is, have you ever thought about getting on that bad boy?
I was thinking about it today because you told me you were going to ask me that, but no, I'm not going to make a video. I mean, they know where I am. They've got enough video of me. I always joke that they call me every time they want Myron to cook. But I don't know. Like I said, they know where I am. I was on the original ones way back in the day, and I had a contract for the first season of Pitmasters, and it was just kind of restrictive. And I was doing Tailgate Warriors, and I just couldn't do it. And I just have never reconnected with him. I talk to John all the time, and of course we did that CBS show that became Pitmasters, where I was a judge, but technically not Pitmasters. I did Smoked this year where Mo and Myron were cooking, but technically not Pitmasters. So I probably won't be sending in a video, though. However, I was thinking about it. I was thinking if they wanted to do a old timers version, I'd probably be interested in doing it.
Have you already progressed to the old timers game of barbecue, right?
Well, no, I hate to admit that, actually, but I just thought that would be fun to grab a couple guys that don't cook all the time anymore, that it might be fun to drag some of us out of the retirement. But I'm not technically retired. I'm actually going to cook Lakeland with Fast Eddie in a couple of weeks. So I'm not retired at all.
Is the TV landscape potentially becoming a little diluted with similar style barbecue shows?
Well, not so much the shows. I think like Danielle's show is definitely different. It's got a whole different feel to it.
Yeah.
When we did Smoked, I mean, that sure looked like Pitmasters to me. I don't know. I mean, I think there's enough room for it. What really bothers me is I'd like to see somehow the cooking be a little more diverse. I'd like to see an episode where nobody puts fake butter on their ribs and claims to have invented it or that was their secret. I'd like to somehow see a little bit more diverse and creative cooking. I realize that's what wins in the contest world, and I understand all that. And frankly, I might get blamed for creating some of it, but I wish we could get the guys to do something a little different on TV.
Perhaps the fault should be placed more on, dare I say, the judge than the cook, because you're obviously preparing the meat that you're cooking in competition for somebody else to taste it. A lot of these guys would sit here and tell you that what they're preparing in competition in no way reflects what they would make in the backyard. So maybe we need to eliminate the judges that are used to competition barbecue and bring in seasoned culinary palates, but not necessarily related to competition barbecue winning flavor profiles as they sit right now.
Yeah, it's been a long road that created this. I was in California the other day and had dinner with Jeffrey Saad. Remember Jeffrey from Next Food Network star? And he said, "What's it like to see this all growing up around you? You've been doing it for so long." And he's right, and I have been. And I remember the days when we would show up with some meat and cook it and hope for the best. And then guys started to manipulate the judging. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I certainly was part of that. It's come so far, and little by little we chipped away at the judges. Let's even just talk about chicken thighs.
Yeah.
We didn't always cook chicken thighs. We used to cook all whole chickens, chicken parts, wings, legs, thighs, whatever. Little by little it became just thighs. And I'm not saying that a thigh isn't the best part, but little by little that became the norm. Now, a judge, gosh, how many judges have been certified since all we serve is thighs? I mean, thousands of them. They've never seen anything legitimately turned in except a thigh. So it just became the norm. And I don't know how you stop it. I agree with you. I think if the judges didn't reward those sweet ribs with blues hog on them, and everybody wouldn't keep turning them in. I'm not saying they're not good. I don't know what you can do. I see Sterling's got that new contest, the guinea pig contest, where he's going to give everybody the meat. I think it's a really good idea, and I think it's a cool idea. But I would like to see everybody go a step further. So let's say you can't bring any rubs. There's a pantry full of spices. You got to make your own rub. I'd love to see something like that. That's how it used to be when I started. I was one of the first guys that actually sold rub because we all just made our own. And I don't know how you can do it though. I mean, it's hard to say that what they're doing is wrong. It just disappoints me that there's so little creativity.
Ray Lampe joining us here on the show. We're doing our now monthly Ask Dr. Barbecue segment. The website, if you want to go to and submit a question to us, askdrbbq.com, or if you just want to visit Ray's site to catch up on what he's doing, drbbq.com. Ray, let me ask you something here, and obviously you know a lot about products. You've seen a billion things come and go over the years in relation to the industry of barbecue. And I was watching Shark Tank about a month or so ago, and there's a guy who's actually from this neck of the woods, Al Bubba Baker. He played many years for the Detroit Tigers before he ended his career here in Cleveland.
The Lions,
with the Lions, whatever. I'm a Browns fan, and that's it, which has been painful. But he ended his career here in Cleveland, and he has actually patented, he holds a patent for boneless baby back ribs. And I believe they're technically termed back rib steak. But as someone who has seen, as I said, a lot of different products go through the barbecue market, do you think that if baby back ribs would have the bones taken out of them, that more people would decide to eat them? Or do you think that, and look, let's be honest, two sharks were battling over his product when it was all said and done, and he did end up making a deal. But are people going to eat more ribs because there's no bones?
They might, man. I looked at that video today. I couldn't find the actual episode, but there's a promo video from Bubba Baker and his daughter basically laying out what they were going to say to the shark. So I think I got the gist of what the deal was. It's a pretty cool product. You got to, in a world of people who like to buy stuff and microwave it, I'm going to tell you it looked like it'd be pretty good. There's no bones in it. If you saw how they served it, they had some cut into like strips, like ribs. They had some cut into chunks, like putting a toothpick in it. One, like a half of that hunk was on a sandwich. Hell, I sure wanted to eat that. And one you would eat with a knife and fork. I thought it was cool, man. I was really kind of surprised. But I got to tell you, we did the cook-off before kickoff thing. We were in, I don't even remember. And ribs was one of our categories in Atlanta. And Z-Man, John Ziegler from Arizona or from Louisiana, he did that. He took a slab of spare ribs, took all the bones out of it, and then cut it in chunks so we could sample out ribs to hundreds of people. So I hope he didn't violate that guy's patent.
Yeah, I was going to say, and he wouldn't go into detail because everybody, of course, all the sharks wanted to know, well, how are you getting the bones out of the back ribs that you're using? And evidently that's where the whole patent comes in. I mean, obviously he doesn't hold the patent on baby back ribs. That would be ridiculous. But Whatever his process is, I mean, have you seen attempts at removing bones and marketing boneless ribs before? And we're not talking about the McRib here, but actual boneless back ribs.
No, the only time I've ever seen it done, I've seen restaurants take like yesterday's ribs, take the bones out and cut the meat into strips and put it on a sandwich. So serve like a real rib sandwich. And I've seen guys do it on the internet, to make a big rib sandwich. I think Phil from the Barbecue Brethren took a whole slab, took all the bones out and put it on a giant hoagie roll and made a sandwich. I've seen guys goofing around it, but I've never seen it in a business like that. I mean, I think everybody will. I can't imagine what his patent is, how he could tell people they can't take the bones out of the rib before they serve it. So I think it'll spread. I think you'll see it. I've not seen it before in a restaurant, but I think it will catch on. And, the other thing you got to think about, we've got those giant slabs of back ribs now. The restaurants don't want any part of those things. They want to give you a whole slab that weighs 1.25 pounds. You go to Sam's Club, you're getting a 3.5 pound slab of ribs. It's sort of a practical way to cut that thing into 4 pieces. I also don't want 3 bones, but 3 bones, as you know, on one of them things is a 1.5 pound hunk of ribs. It's a pretty good way to make that gigantic slab into a whole bunch of servings. So I really think from a business point of view, I think it's a pretty cool idea. And yes, I do think people will buy it. It's still going to cost a whole lot more than one of them nasty patties, though. And that's going to be the problem, I think.
Yeah, well, that kind of dovetails nicely into my next question. We're talking with Ray Lampe, Dr. Barbecue. And this is one that I've actually wanted to ask you about probably for the last month or 2 months, which is there seems to be, especially over this past year, a lot of fast food chains jumping into the barbecue scene, offering such succulent treats as the McRib, as I'd mentioned before, various pulled pork sandwich variations, and of course that newest one that Arby's came out with this summer, which was the smokehouse brisket sandwich. I guess first things first, which of any of those have you tried? What's good and what's passable and what should go and die? And I guess what are your thoughts on the business model at hand for these fast food chains trying to introduce the barbecue?
Well, I think trying to introduce barbecue is really a good thing. I think we should all be proud of that it has come that far, that Burger King really sees it as a legit category and has jumped in a big way. Arby's as well, and our friend is actually in the commercial. How much of it have I tried? Well, I've always eaten McRibs. I do like them. I probably claim to like them more than I actually do, but just for the sake of argument, I will go on the side of McRibs are good. Burger King, earlier this year, I had a contract on my desk to do a small project as the spokesman for the Burger King first wave of barbecue sandwiches. So I went over to the local Burger King and figured I better eat this stuff and see what it's like. And it was bad. The pulled pork sandwich was so sweet. Have you eaten one of those things?
No, never.
It was so sweet. It was like I couldn't eat it. It was so. And then I ate a burger with barbecue sauce on it or something. I don't even remember. And they then I had the contract, and then they disappeared and they pulled out on me. It was one of two things. I think they probably just knew my heart wasn't in it. I was going to take the money, and I thought it would be good exposure. But man, my heart wasn't in it. I got to be honest. It was either that or they just knew I wasn't very influential in the barbecue world.
So let me ask you this better question.
Did you get that?
Yeah, of course I did. I'm not even going to dignify that for 1 second. When, let's say they didn't pull the contract out for whatever reason, they left it out there, and you said you were going to take it. At what point where does the internal struggle take place where you know what's good and you know what Dr. Barbecue's brand is going to be out there endorsing, and on the other side you're like, man, it's Burger King, it's one of the biggest chains out there, and on top of that, the cash is pretty good, and now you have this internal struggle of, am I going to... Hold on.
I'll just host the show from here, Greg. Don't worry about it. I think he had let the dog in or something. Okay, I'll just answer the question. Yes, there is an internal struggle because you don't want to, managing the world of being Dr. Barbecue is something you want to think about, and you have to be true to who you are. And that's probably why it fell through, because my heart wasn't in it. But from a business point of view, hey, sometimes you got to take the money. It's part of being an entrepreneur. But also, I think it was so far out there that nobody was going to take it serious. So I wasn't really that worried about it. Sandy was more worried about it than I was. I didn't think there was anyone was going to take it seriously. So I was willing to do it. And I would have had to shut my mouth for the extended period of time. That's how those contracts are written. I also, one time I was almost the spokesman for the barbecue crock pot. Remember that thing?
Oh, yeah.
And similar thing happened. They pulled out at the last second. And I think, once again, they really just knew my heart wasn't in it.
Ray Lampe joining us here on the show. Sorry, Ray, I had to take off there because my kid fell down the stairs.
The show must go on, Greg. I rolled through it.
First time with a house that actually has stairs in it, going from a ranch house to a colonial. And, well, Sometimes kids fall right down the goddamn stairs while you're doing the show. Make sure nobody broke a neck. Ray Lampe joining us here on the show. AskDRBBQ.com if you want to submit a question to us, or DRBBQ.com, which is Ray's website. I hate to call out the general consuming public, but I'm going to. Why not? It's 2014, New Year. Let's keep insulting people. Are all of these offerings, through the fast food and stuff, just lazy people eating substandard barbecue? And it doesn't have to be like that, right? I mean, you can put a little effort into it, make it at home, and enjoy something that's 10 times better than just going through a drive-through line.
Well, I think, of course, but we're foodies. We're barbecue guys, too. We're food freaks. That's what we eat. We want to have the genuine item of something. We want to have the real deal. Go walk down the pizza aisle. You can buy a pizza for like $1.29 in the frozen food section and throw it in your toaster oven, and people are eating those things by the millions. So to me, it's sort of an indication that barbecue has really arrived and become a legitimate category that people want to eat all the time. So I think it's a good thing. Anybody that really wants barbecue and wants to know about barbecue, it's just like the pizza guy. People don't eat those. I don't eat those pizzas. I don't know if you do, but you don't eat that and think it's real pizza, but it shows you how important that category is. So that's how I think it really is. You look at all that. We've got it in the grocery stores too. We talked about it before, that Jack Daniel's stuff, and there's, everybody's got their name on some barbecue, and the stuff's really not very good. But I just think it's a compliment. People want barbecue and they don't know how to get it. They don't know how to cook it. And there it is in front of them and they buy it.
All right, Ray, a couple minutes left, and of course we're going to be talking with Heath Hall at Pork Barrel Barbecue in about an hour, and going over his 2013 list of 25 most influential people in barbecue. Noticeably absent, one Dr. Barbecue, Ray Lampe. How dare they? You don't have to address that at all. I know you're much bigger than that, Ray, but did you have a chance to look over the list, and what did you like and what didn't you like?
I did look at the list. I did follow along. I think it was a really smart thing for Heath and those guys to do. I wish I'd have thought of it. It was a great idea. It's tough. How do you possibly? There's no real black and white criteria for who's on that list and who isn't. So they did the best they could. Good for them. Are you exercising?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I had an itch.
They did what they could. Oh, whatever. I really think John Marcus, I was glad to see John up there high. John deserves it. Would there be barbecue pitmasters without John Marcus? Maybe, but probably not. John has driven that bus from day one, certainly deserves to be there. Myron, God bless him, man. Myron is the hardest working man in barbecue. He certainly deserves to be there. It was good to see some of the old names on there. It's good for everybody. I like seeing it. Congrats to them.
Ray Lampe joining us here. Again, it'll be the first Tuesday, I almost said Monday, first Tuesday of every month for our Ask Dr. Barbecue segment. Again, check him out at drbbq.com. Ray, appreciate you helping me kick off the new year in style, and we'll look for you again next month.
Always a pleasure, Greg. You take care.
All right, you too. There he is, Ray Lampe, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Barbecue. Look at this class act taking the high road when a lot of people were like, man, that Ray Lampe fellow should have been on that list. Good for Ray. All right, Kevin Bevington, Home Barbecue, coming up right after this. Also, creator of Outdoor Cooking Channel. Again, let me talk to you quickly about Tasty Licks Barbecue Supply, trusted online retailer of this show, longtime supporter of this show as well. I speak with Fred quite often, and he wants me to make sure that you are still aware of what is happening over at his store in, dare I say, tropical Shillington. Nobody's saying tropical. And it was like negative 10 degrees here today, before the wind chill. Tasty Licks is carrying Kamado Joe cookers, Meadow Creek cookers, spices, sauces, accessories, many of these items already in stock, ready to ship to you directly. Have you been looking for Oak Ridge brines and rubs? Have you been looking for the complete line of Plowboys rubs and sauces? How about Smoke on Wheels products? Tasty Licks has them all, and of course you know by now the Tasty Licks Barbecue is your big green egg headquarters, including many items for the egg you can't get anywhere else. And these big green egg parts are in stock. Fred contracts with people the mind is always working with the smoking guitar player. Not only is he writing award-winning songs specifically for the show and Competition Barbecue, but he's thinking, what would make the Big Green Egg better that's not already out there? And he finds these people, they contract together, and he gets these accessories made that you can't get anywhere else, and they're ready to go. Also, Tasty Licks Barbecue Supply now carrying Harry Sue's new chicken rub. He's got the big injection makers out there, including my guy, Butcher Barbecue, Dave Bosca. Carries the Barbecue Guru, their associated accessories, of course, Green Mountain Grills. He does classes. I believe he's got a big class that is going off in 2 months' time, if I'm not mistaken. I forget who the pitmaster is going to be out there in Shillington, but it's going to be top name. I'll get that information for you. It was like last call on Twitter and the Facebook recently. And attention teams, Tasty Licks, your competition headquarters as well. All supplies for competition teams, pans in different sizes, aluminum trays, gloves, thermometers, turn-in boxes for practice. Make it your one-stop shop. TastyLicksBarbecue.com is the place to go. Head on over right now. Enjoy the videos that Fred puts up, and there are plenty of them to enjoy. And don't forget that Tasty Licks manufactures their own lines of rubs and sauces as well. Got to try those. When you order, drop Fred a line that you heard about him on this show and let him know you appreciate the support of the show. You're going to support him right back with your order. TastyLicksBBQ.com. That's TastyLicksBBQ.com. We're back with Kevin Bevington right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Get in the smoke. Call 877-448-0433 to get on the air. Now, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Big B, Moonshine Band, Suburban Waste Records. Let's go! I'm an outlaw. Give me 2 shots. We don't need a radio. Bring a jukebox for my outlaws. Bring me 3 shots.
All right, we're back, 877-448-0433. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. My thanks to Ray Lampe for joining me last segment. You know, you might recall at the end of last year, we had 2 great races for Team of the Year, one in KCBS, one in FBA. And the FBA decision, to me, was one that I really couldn't wrap my brain around fully. And I got into a discussion with my next guest about to kind of work through some of this stuff, and we went back and forth through emails, and I said before, I was like, hey, let's stop. Let's do a little segment on this, little lunch and learn, if you will. So let's go ahead and welcome back the creator of the Outdoor Cooking Channel, pitmaster of Home Barbecue Cooking Team, Kevin Bevington, joining me here on the show. Kevin, how are you, buddy?
Hey, Greg, how are you doing?
Doing absolutely fabulous, Kevin. Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, same to you.
Thank you very much. Kevin, let me ask you a question here before we get into this stuff where you make me look like a complete idiot. Is it home BBQ or home barbecue?
Well, obviously either way. It was BBQ, but some people call BBQ barbecue.
And for the people that really know you, it's just home.
No, not really. I mean, there was some contest where they actually did theme music, and I remember one time they did Home on the Range.
Oh.
we go to the stage.
Wonderful. Kevin Bevington.
Yeah, wonderful, yeah.
Yeah, right. Kevin Bevington joining me here on the show, creator of Outdoor Cooking Channel and homebbq.com, of course. Kevin, I was talking to Jim Elser towards the end of the year last year for competition. There was this big race of Team of the Year at Florida Barbecue Association, and obviously you're well vested and knowledgeable about FBA on a number of different levels for a lot of people that don't know. But I don't know if we disagreed or not, but I just couldn't understand this. Obviously I don't really understand how the points work, so we can probably work through that a little bit. But it seemed a little unfathomable to me to have a team who was in the lead at the end of the competition finish ahead of the other 2 teams, but one of the teams that was overall behind him because of some of the meat categories better finishing leaped forward and ended up taking Team of the Year, which was Hot Watch Hulas. So obviously congratulations to him. But just from an outsider's perspective, if you were me, kind of inadequate with the brains. Do you see where it seems a little awkward to me on how a team could finish like that and then not win Team of the Year on top of that?
Yeah, I guess I can see that. First, I want to say congrats to Matt Barber. He, if anybody's paid their dues, it's him. He's been around a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And I was thrilled to see him win that. But yeah, I could see that. I mean, but at no point is that based on total points, where a contest is based on total points. And the FBA Team of the Year is actually based on placement in categories and overall. So that's where your difference comes. I mean, you obviously there was I didn't see the scores of the contest, so obviously there was some, maybe Jim was way ahead of Matt in one particular category, and that's why he placed higher overall in points. But in the scheme of things and how that placed in that particular category, it didn't play out the same way. But I see that a lot of times people want the drama. They want that last contest to play out. And they like the drama of things. But the contest, the last contest is done the same way as the first one, and it's not any more important than the first one is. And that's a long road. I mean, these guys are cooking a lot of contests. That's a huge investment. It's a hell of a commitment. And so I think there was, I don't know, 24 or 30 contests or whatever. And that's, I mean, to those that do this all the time, they're so used to doing it. But if you were to think about that and the amount of investment that takes, and just the time that it takes out of your life to do that. That's a commitment. So that award needs to encompass that commitment.
Kevin,
it needs to be about that. So it needs to be from beginning to end and not necessarily be decided in one contest.
Kevin Bevington joining me here on the show. I mean, obviously the point system between, let's say, a KCBS is different than the Florida Barbecue Association. Why does the FBA point system work and kind of eliminate the drama, if you will, and should other sanctioning bodies, if they aren't similar in methodology, work towards something similar to this?
I don't know that it eliminates the drama. I mean, the drama was the same. It wasn't total points, okay? And that's kind of really what I wanted to say was, Jim finished up higher in the overall results of that contest, and in your mind, he should have won that. And it just wasn't about the overall points, the total points. So I don't want to take away from the drama, because you had a number of guys competing to the end in that race. So there were a lot of people waiting for the results. So. Now, also, KCBS has gone through changes throughout the years on the way their Team of the Year, points were done as well. I mean, theirs were never about total points either, So, at one point, it was, your best 5 contests, and then there was, single, double, and triple points based on the number of teams in those contests. And, I did it one year. I don't know how many other people did it, but, in 2004, I only did 5 KCBS contests, and I somehow landed in the top 10.
Yeah.
And, and that really probably shouldn't have happened. That isn't really that it doesn't encompass in my mind what Team of the Year should be. So they did an overhaul, and it rewards the ones that compete a lot now, I believe, so that's really the way it should be. Right, so and there's other things that, like in FBA, we did the Triple Crown, which was more of a tournament style thing, which had more drama to it, had more of the things that you want, like the Sam's Club has that, with KCBS.
Is Team of the Year now, or you said maybe it shouldn't have applied to you when you did so well in those competitions, as far as the overall Team of the Year is concerned. But I mean, why should a team? I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this. Should you have to do like a minimum amount of competitions to really truly judge who the team of the year cook should be, like 20 contests or more? Or, why not? If you go to competitions and if you only did 5 and you scored out of your mind on those 5, is there not an argument to be made that you should be team of the year because you did 5 and somebody else did 40?
Well, there's a lot of criteria, a lot of that that you're kind of skipping over there, that in terms of how things are scored. But I have to agree with the second part of what you stated. I mean, in terms of not saying there has to be a minimum amount of contest. If one person cooks 10 and another person cooks 30, and he's able to compete on the same level, then go for it based on whatever criteria is there. But one thing has to be said: it's an entire year. I mean, it has to encompass that entire year. And I know in FBA, what we tried to keep away from was not having somebody jump out in front. Next thing you know, you've got a 1-horse race, and then you've got no interest, and you've got people not showing up to contests, that kind of thing.
Kevin Bevington joining me here on the show. Kevin, in staying with the Florida Barbecue Association, you've obviously seen it from its infancy. You were past president. What kind of a position is the FBA in right now? What do you like that's good, and what do you think might need a tweak or two to keep it going in the right direction?
Well, I'm sorry to admit, but I haven't been keeping up with things like I probably should have, so it's tough for me to answer that question. I know FBA's more popular these days than they've ever been, and that's fantastic. So obviously things are being done right in order for that to happen. I'm not real clear as far as how many members there are right now, but I know the organization has grown a lot, and it seems to have a huge participation now in terms of the amount of teams. A lot of great teams are competing now. Hopefully I can stop having these health issues and falling and breaking kneecaps or whatever, to where I can get back out and do this again. I really would like to do that at some point here, is jump back out and start doing this again.
Could you see yourself doing a 2025 event season, given the health and everything?
Well, I mean, the health has just been a series of unfortunate mishaps. I mean, I did have, which stopped me from competing, I guess, in 2008. I did have, legitimate health concerns back then, which slowed me way down. And, but, lately it's just been, accidents, like this kneecap thing. And, I had 6 months ago, I had another leg thing happen with my leg as well. So hopefully these things stop at some point. And I'd like to get back out at some point.
Kevin, let's quickly transition. I'm sure everybody in the FBA doesn't want you to do it because of the dominance that you had over there for 5+ year span, but nevertheless, let's quickly transition over to the Outdoor Cooking channel with the remaining time. We've launched it. We've had this great simulcast relationship for a number of months now, as you like me to say. Is the channel meeting your expectations, and what's new in 2014 that we might be able to expect and enjoy in the months ahead?
Well, I would like to have more content, and I'm going to stick it out there for anybody that's producing video or to please, and they want to get it in front of a lot of people to please get in touch with me. But things have been a little slow in terms of me, and I think I'm to blame with, like say, this the mishaps that I keep having here. But one real positive thing has been the Roku channel. I mean, it's just under 90,000 subscribers now.
Wow.
Which is pretty huge. And I think you knew I did a holiday outdoor cooking section on there, and that was actually a huge success. Got a lot of views in there. And in 2014, I'm really looking at distribution, looking at apps, and getting more places, and that's really kind of my focus is getting more apps done and getting more distributed in that respect.
Are you surprised, Kevin, that with the outlet that you have, the viewerships that you're attracting, and the different platforms that you can watch on now, and obviously you're looking to even grow on that this show The Barbecue Central show is the only live show on the channel, and perhaps is that not a testament to not how awesome this show is, but how unawesome the rest of the shows out there in the barbecue entertainment world is?
I'm not going to say unawesome on anybody, but what you do is hard, and not everybody can do that. So, hats off to you. That's for sure.
Pork Barrel Barbecue put out a top 25 most influential list in 2013. Did you have a chance to look at it, and do you have any thoughts?
I did look at it, and I didn't follow it, so it's a tough judgment call for me. I'm not sure what all went into it. So I that was really the first time I had seen it when you pointed me to it. I think the number one pick, I agree with 100%. Okay, so which I believe, if I understood that right, he was talking about the backyard cook, which I agree with 100%. And I saw some names I certainly agree with being in there. Obviously, everybody's got their opinions on who should be where and so forth. I noticed there was a noticeable absence of you or me on there. That was for sure.
Yeah, what the hell? Jeez. Crazy.
But all kidding aside, there's some others that I thought probably should have been in there, but that kind of thing, who knows what kind of criteria it took in terms of, who made it on the list and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, that kind of thing's a huge undertaking. I mean, he obviously did a great job getting it up there. And, like I said, I mean, there were some people on there that I thought certainly deserved to be in there.
Kevin Bevington is the creator of the Outdoor Cooking Channel. Of course, you can find that as you're watching OutdoorCookingChannel.com. Kevin, always appreciate the time, and thanks for setting me straight here tonight.
Thanks for having me on, Greg.
Take
care.
There he is, Kevin Bevington. OutdoorCookingChannel.com and HomeBBQ.com. Kevin had really now, Kevin and I go back 6, 7, I think it's the 7th year of the live shows, or the 6th year, whatever. So I think right when I started, well, it was even before that, I was doing the recorded podcast shows when he was president of the Florida Barbecue Association, 2 terms, I believe. At that point, he was 3 years into a 5-year dominance of winning Team of the Year in the Florida Barbecue Association 5 times in a row. And 1 or 2 times, I think one year he was 5th overall in the KCBS, and he had won Team of the Year in the FBA. So, for the folks that can remember back into the early 2000s, mid-2000s, when Kevin was really out there cooking, for the people that are being truthful, I don't know if there was a much better cook out there who was being as dominant in multiple sanctioning bodies as Kevin was, plus taking an active interest in growing the fledgling Florida Barbecue Association at that point. So, always appreciate Kevin coming on, and great talking with him. Gang, if you are like me, you're always looking for ways to step the barbecue and grilling game up, right? Of course you are. That's why I have to tell you that you should be looking at Butcher Barbecue right now, butcherbbq.com. Order the fine products. If you need some type of justification, how about looking at Dave's competition results? How about looking at his success in business, his broad sweeping products like, of course, those injections, the pork, the beef, the prime injection, of course, the bird booster. That beef injection uses the award-winning flavor enhancer and its ability to keep your briskets juicy, and then they combine that with the competition standard and beef flavor. That turns into, of course, the prime injection, which you can get at butcherbbq.com. Of course, it is a go-to place for rubs and sauces. You have hit the mother lode here. Friends, it's a brisket rub. It is the honey rub. That garnered a lot of attention when Dave was on. What the hell? Am I off the air here? Am I on the air? It looks like the picture of him in the post office. Hey, what are you talking about? Looks like I just lost my interwebs connection. I'm still recording, though, so I'm going to go. We're going to do it live! That's right, the chat was more interesting. Now, perhaps you're looking, again, the go-to rubs and sauces, of course. Last but not least, Butcher Barbecue, the sweet barbecue sauce. Look, when it comes to sauce, I'm as picky as it gets. And Butcher Sweet Sauce wins in every category for me. Not overly sweet, a nice slice of tang, and the right amount of back-end heat. For crying out loud, no liquid smoke. There's time, there's effort, and that's why the sauce is great. Head over to butcherbbq.com right now. That's butcherbbq.com. Stock up right now. Again, that's butcherbbq.com. Butcher's Barbecue. Always trust your butcher. We're back to wrap up the first hour right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, we're back, 877-448-0433. David Qualls, Greg, do you wear a turban when you're not in front of the camera? Yes. Of course. All right. Damn it. Not good. Hold on. I'm going to start and stop, as they say. Do a little start and stop action on my end. Maybe that pulls everything in. There we go. Well, it looks like I'm going to have to get in touch with Mr. AT&T. Can't be cutting out like that. No, sir. No, sir. All right, thanks to Kevin Bevington for joining me and setting me straight on the Team of the Year stuff for Florida Barbecue Association. As many of you were saying on the chat room, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. I get it. I'm just saying that as I'm looking at it as a competitor's point of view, that... Sorry. Looking at Kevin's email here. He's worried that all of a sudden I'm not there anymore. New house, new internet. We'll have to see what's going on here. We might have to drop down in bandwidth. Make sure that the connection is strong. I can't be dropping no damn internet. I can't do it. So I appreciate him setting me straight there. And again, lots of good stuff to look forward to for the Outdoor Cooking Channel. If you are a budding Outdoor Cooking Channel show host, hopeful, get in contact with Kevin. Of course, he's also able to put in the pre-production stuff, which is, 99.975% of all the other shows that are on here, except for me. I'm the only live show, which I'm recording and so forth. Oh, looks like Dave Bosca and Meathead are going to be doing a show here soon. Great. Can't wait. It's going to be great. All right, we'll step away here real quick and reload for the second hour. We have a recap of Harry Sue's Backyarder, and then we have Heath Hall coming in to talk about the 2013 list of the 25 most influential people in the barbecue industry last year. This is the Barbecue Central Show, and you are listening and watching the Barbecue Central Networks. Stick around. I'll be right back. Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan. So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 54 wieners.
But listen, Lavernius, shake a face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have
top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
We are back in the second hour. All right, there we go. 877-448-0433. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com if you want to jump in. More than happy to have you. If you want a chance to win a $20 gift certificate to the Barbecue Superstore, thebbqsuperstore.com, blast me off an email. Do it right now, and in the subject line, put something to the tone of homebbq.com. First one in, $20 gift certificate, just like that. How about that? Coming up, still tonight, we have Steve Botkin from Outlaw Barbecue and Taylor Jonasson and Kevin Schallert from Rooster Q. We'll be talking about the Harry Sue's Groovin' Backyarder competition. Of course, in this show, there was a lot of talk during the course at the end of last year about the importance or non-importance or the benefit or non-benefit of backyard competitions. And, of course, Harry was a big believer in putting on backyard competitions, and he did this one towards the end of last year, and from all accounts, a very big success. There was a lot of things that happened in that event that wouldn't normally happen in a traditional style event. So we'll get to talk with Taylor and Kevin and Steve about their experience and maybe some of their best takeaways and things that they were able to put together. Winner for the $20 gift certificate is Phil Luswick. Phil, look at you. Phil wins. Winner of the chicken dinner. Let me write down Phil. And you win $20 gift certificate to the BBQSuperstore.com. You don't need to send me any shipping info. I'll forward that over to Richard Parker, and he will take care of you. Congratulations to you, Phil, and as always, thank you for listening. Also on the show next week, making his triumphant return to the show, it will be a monthly, a second Tuesday of each month appearance. Plenty to talk about and catch up. Meathead Goldwyn will be rejoining us. I believe he's on a 4-month hiatus from the show. Meathead, what the hell? You and your damn books. Over the break, I'm wondering if anybody saw this. I'm pulling it up right now. Let me see if I can get over to the screen here. Did you see this? A fight over barbecue sauce lands couple in jail. Yeah. This was actually written on December 26th. However, Dateline, Denbo, Pennsylvania. A western Pennsylvania couple found themselves in prison on Christmas Eve after a fight over barbecue sauce. What? Get that big stuff out of here. The Washington Observer reporter said Tracy Lee Giffen, 42, and her boyfriend, William Ballas, 56, got into a fight after Giffen forgot to bring barbecue sauce home from the store. State police at Bell Vernon said Giffen bit Ballas on the nose and hand, and Ballas struck Giffen in the eye during the struggle. The fight happened at the home in Denbo, Washington County at 10 p.m. Tuesday evening on Christmas Eve. The couple was arraigned early Christmas morning, and simple assault and harassment charges were given. A January 7th court date was set for the couple. Merry Christmas, everybody. Get that big stuff out of here. We don't have anything better to fight about than barbecue sauce. How does that speak to our industry? These two people are casting a black eye on the barbecue industry. Or perhaps people would look at it as, man, these people are really passionate about barbecue. So much so that, man, if you don't bring that barbecue sauce, things are going to get out of control quickly. And if I might add, that lady is throwing down. She is biting eyeballs and punching faces, biting noses. Nothing, growing up, what I've always said, nothing better than spending Christmas Eve in the stir. Love it. That's where I try to end up every Christmas Eve. What can I do to get my ass thrown in jail? I know I'm going to beat my woman down over barbecue sauce. It's like the old saying goes, man, if I've told her once, I've told her 1,000 times. Don't forget my barbecue sauce, damn it.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Hey, woman. Go to the store and get my barbecue sauce. Don't forget it, or you're going to get beaten. Damn it.
And then 15, 20 minutes later passes. Here she comes home. Let's see. I got this. I've got that. All of a sudden she gets home. She puts the bags down.
Hey, Kathy Gifford, where's my barbecue sauce?
The fear sets in. This is playing in her mind. This isn't going to go well for me. Oh, this isn't going to go well for me. Ed, I forgot the barbecue sauce.
Oh, no! We suck again!
Woman, I told you, don't forget my barbecue sauce. Now it's on like neck bone sucker.
Get that big stuff out of here.
And then that's where the beating begins. Watch out. But she's not having it. She's jab, jab, right hook. He's poking her in the eyeball.
Ow! Woman, I told you, don't forget my barbecue sauce. I'm going to have to poke your eyeball out.
Don't call the cops. It's Christmas Eve. We're going to end up in jail on Christmas Eve. Santa doesn't come to visit bad boys and girls in the Hoos Cow, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe you didn't know that. Hoos Cow. I don't know if anybody's listening to me, but Dave Bosca is breaking down beef cuts and instant chat. It's a classic instant chat here on the Barbecue Central show, by the way. Wanted to give you an update from the case since it happened for being the very essence of douchebaggedness. They were both given the electric chair on New Year's Day. They go.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Not really. I think the last live show, I wanted to mention this. There's a Facebook friend of mine. I have thousands, and you don't. Facebook post from Steve Ray that said, hey, I agree with you. Don't buy the cheap cooker, because that's like my thing, right? When people ask me about what cooker should I buy and this, that, and the other thing, I always say, look, obviously you're going to have to set a budget. Undoubtedly, you're going to have to set a budget. We all know that. But go to the high end of the budget. Don't do yourself a disservice and buy cheap because it feels good in your head and in your heart. But when you actually get the piece of crap back to your house, it performs poorly. It makes subpar food. No matter how well you're doing it in advance, the actual cooking part, which, now taking out of your hands, if the apparatus can't perform well or doesn't have good vent or whatever the case may be, there's a problem. So, I don't know. What can I tell you? And then we have angry people not winning the gift certificate. It's got to be the first one. It's got to be the first one. So anyway, take some of the Christmas money. If you're going to be buying a cooker, buy a Weber Smoky Mountain. Don't buy a $40 charbroil. Buy the Weber gas grill. Don't buy the bottom end Fiesta or Thermos that you get at Target, for crying out loud. Unless you only want it for like 2 months. If you only need it for 2 months, fine. Buy the cheap and get rid of it. But if you're going to really be using it and you want to be able to keep some type of heat control and maintenance over it, and you want to find replacement parts for it in a fairly easy fashion, going not high end, but going mid end is a good entry point. You'll thank me for it later. So, Steve, learning that I am speaking the truth. Now Meathead and Dave Bosca are holding court up. You two should be doing your own show. It can be called, I have the name for the show, Butcher the Meathead. I like it. A recap of Harry Sue's Groovin' Backyard Contest coming up right after this. Folks, if I've told you once, I've told you again. Arno Smokers is a custom pit builder combining innovation, the art of innovation in each of their cutting-edge off-style and vault-style barbecue pits. Located in the heart of Texas, near Fort Worth, Granbury has been home to Arno Smokers since the beginning. Arno Smokers has continued to widen its range using visionary planning, both on the design level and the quality of their craftsmanship, to bring their customers the finest custom pits on the market. Now, if you have been looking for a custom pit without the hefty price tag and weight of some other manufacturers on the market, make this your first choice. Mention you heard about Arno Smokers on the Barbecue Central show. Receive an additional discount off the already low price. And for more information, follow the link to their Facebook page, which can be found on my homepage, thebbqcentralshow.com. Click on their logo at the bottom right, or visit the links page or the sponsors page, and that will get you to their Facebook page. Or you can do this instead. Email Billy Overton, BILLIE _RO Smokers at yahoo.com, or you can email Tony Belay. His email address, Tony, TONY _RO Smokers at yahoo.com, or you can email both, or neither. Just visit their Facebook page. Don't forget, again, check out the Facebook page regularly. They're doing weekly drawings and giveaways from their barbecue partners as well, so you don't want to miss out on free stuff, because we always know that you guys love the free stuff. And again, you can get to their Facebook page by visiting my website, thebbqcentralshow.com. There it is right there. And then find their little logo on the homepage, Arno Smokers, or visit the sponsors page or the links page on the Barbecue Central page, and you can link right over to the Facebook page. Arno Smokers, proud sponsor of this show. Happy to have them aboard. And if you're looking to not have to wait around but get a really great-looking pit that performs well, why not give Arno a look? I know Jambo Pit is as hot as they come. You know, why not check something else out? Shop around, folks. The best thing about being American is being able to shop around. All right, we're back with Steve Botkin, Taylor Jonathan, and Kevin Shallert. Right after this, stick around. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, we're back, 877-448-0433. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. My next guest took part in the Harry Sue's Groovin' Backyarder event, middle of last month, which Harry was on this show prior talking about it. Joining me are the pitmasters of the Grand Champion and Reserve Grand Champion teams. Please help me welcome Steve Botkin from Outlaw Barbecue and Taylor Jonathan and Kevin Shallert from Rooster Q. Gentlemen, appreciate you joining me tonight. Steve, if we could start with you while we got you on, maybe a little background about yourself, you know, kind of how you got into this whole barbecue event thing.
Well, basically, I've been barbecuing for 30-plus years, and about 4 years ago, I took a Harry Sue's pitmaster class, and what happened? About 6 months ago, I was making my own barbecue sauce, because put my barbecue and my sauce together, it's really good. And out of the blue, I got this invitation from Harry for his contest. So I thought, you know what? Let me try my sauce in the contest. Let's see how I do. well, put it all together, and I won the grand championship. So it really solidified, what I've been doing with barbecue, and now I'm jumping into the circuit.
But initially, Steve, just getting into it was finding Harry Sue's Barbecue 101 class and jumping from there?
Yeah,
wow.
That was it.
Kevin, what about you? What drew you into the competition barbecue scene?
Yeah, I've loved to cook for years. I'm pretty young. I'm 24, but me and my buddy Taylor, who I'm also on the team with, have always had we're drawn out to try to learn how to cook different things. And Taylor had been working as a barbecue caterer for a while, and so we took Harry's class last December, and had honed in some of our skills over the last year. And then when Harry announced his contest, we just jumped in as an opportunity to try to see if we had learned the technical aspects the right way, knowing that the flavor profiles are so important based on judges. We wanted to see where professional judges would rate our food versus just our friends after a few beers.
Taylor, similar to you, did you jump in after taking his class, or did that where the passion come from, or have you been around barbecue previously?
Well, in college, I used some of my summers as a way to do catering with this guy who basically travels around during the summer and does street fair type of things. And so I learned the basics, just throw meat on fire, no flavor profiles other than smoke and wood. And from there, we just kind of did backyard cooking for our friends. When we saw the invitation for the competition after we took the class about a year ago, we thought it'd be a great opportunity to kind of see where our food goes with everyone else's in a competition.
Kevin and Taylor, what do you guys cook on? Are you guys going to be competing together like here on out, or do you guys have separate teams and you just joined forces for this Harry Sue's event? How does that actually work out?
Yeah, so we both have 2 Weber Smoky Mountains and 2 coupes, and we put all the barbecue stuff in the back of our cars and drove out to this competition. We're hoping that maybe in the future we can get a couple more competitions under our belt, depending on what kind of equipment we have. But I've actually, 2 weeks ago, I cooked with Ira Pupko from Hog Heaven Sauces and did a competition just to kind of learn some extra things that we didn't get from our competition, and more of a big circuit, end of the year, the pressure's on kind of thing.
Steve, what are you cooking on?
Well, actually, for the contest for Harry's, I just went to ordered online Home Depot this vertical Brinkman, and my background was a technician on the space shuttle, so I took this thing, modified it, got it all groomed in tune, and I said, you know what, this will work, because I didn't have anything to, take to the contest. So I did a lot of practicing at home just to make sure that, it worked the way I wanted it to, and when I got to the competition, it's lightweight, and it worked.
So this is just something you made more or less from scratch?
No. I bought it from Home Depot online, but I had to modify it so everything works perfectly. Like I had to put a heat damper in at the bottom so I don't have too much heat going up on the left side, so it's all even. Drilling holes, putting latches on, so it'll work in the competition.
Steve Botkin, Taylor Jonathan, and Kevin Shaler joining me here on the show, Outlaw Barbecue and Rooster Q, respectively. Guys, back at Rooster Q here, prior to this event, have you guys ever ventured foot into whether it be a traditional KCBS event or any other type of backyard barbecue event?
Nothing for competition. We've been doing some catering lately. We did the Harvest Festival for Hearthstone Vineyard. They produced the grapes for Saxum. We did some charity stuff for a couple of different land trusts throughout the Santa Monica Mountains, but nothing that was judged with any sort of refined, purposeful palate.
Steve, prior to this event, had you done any type of competition barbecue before, or was this the first one?
This is the first one.
But you said you were making your own sauces and you're marrying up your barbecue. And were you ever looking to get into a business of barbecue, or just the sauce was just something you like to do on the side?
Well, my background, I run a restaurant as a teenager, but with barbecuing and my own sauces and rubs, for some reason, this all happened months ago, sauces and rubs. But, 30 years old, I've been smoking turkeys and briskets and pork and so forth. All came in for me.
Taylor and Kevin, let me ask you, in an overall sense, this Harry Sue's Groovin' Backyarder event, what was your biggest takeaway? What did you like about it? And I guess aside from already having taken Harry's class, which obviously is a big advantage, or at least a learning curve ramp up, what were your biggest takeaways from this event?
For me, the biggest highlight was the community. Being able to jump into a bunch of people with shared sort of enthusiasm for barbecue and then making people happy to come to barbecue was fantastic. Harry had curated a group of mentors, seasoned barbecue vets that are so generous with their background and their knowledge and helping guide us through some of the little things that might have been foresights otherwise. So that was great. And then the judging style was also really cool because it wasn't like a turn in your food and then get a score back from the other end a couple hours later. Able to really see what the judges' views on it, different things that they were taking apart. So from that, I know I've done some practice cooks since then, and my cooking has gotten just numerous times better just from that feedback. So I think that feedback was really cool.
Steve, your biggest takeaway from the weekend?
Oh, definitely the feedback. Because, it was nice to have the judges walk up to you and look at your preparation and give you little tips and tricks. But I think one thing that really helped me was Danny Kugel of Pit Bulls up at the school.
Yep.
This is where I really refined my cooking techniques. And then, of course, with the competition and getting to meet the judges, watch them score you, that was the highlight for me.
That's funny you mentioned that, Steve. Let me stay with you here just for a quick follow-up. A big draw to this event was that Outlaw judging that took place. Obviously, you're saying it was very beneficial to hear, but, as you're kind of watching everybody else get judged, were there any people that seemed to be a little bit put off or offended that they thought they did a lot better than how their food was getting judged?
That's the way it seemed to me, but everyone that I see took constructive criticism with a grain of sand, and they'll use it on future competitions. But overall, it was just a great learning experience for everyone.
Taylor and Kevin, when you were getting that constructive criticism back, obviously, again, you said, just like Steve, you were pretty appreciative of that. Was there anybody that seemed like they were a little put off by being told their stuff maybe wasn't as good as they thought it was?
I didn't notice that, but it was definitely a little bit nerve-wracking when you present your first-time box and all these judges who have been judging for years are looking at it with, kind of a look that they're not really sure. And then they take a bite, they don't really say anything, they give you some feedback. And, one of the things on our chicken I was really nervous about because chicken's hard to cook. And, everyone's biting through really nice, and I'm pretty happy and give you feedback and say, oh, you could have done this, you could have done that. And then I get the scores back, and we scored a perfect 180. So it's hard to tell from their feedback if you hit it or not, but it's definitely a lot more beneficial than seeing numbers on a paper afterward. It was also hard to know what other people were thinking with the format. We come into the judges' tent for the few seconds that we were presenting, but with 3 meat cook in that few time, you're spending almost all your time at the grill. So you would jump there, and it was certainly nerve-wracking, especially for us because we had our family and some of our friends there, so we didn't want to be embarrassed. But it was hard to know what if anybody else took the feedback more personally because we would jump in, and then it was instantly back to the next meet.
Steve Botkin from Outlaw Barbecue joining me here on the show. Also Taylor Jonathan and Kevin Shallard from Rooster Q, Grand Champ and Reserve Grand Champ, respectively, at the Harry Sue's Groovin' Backyard event that took place last month. Steve, if you decided to go back again next year, or if Harry was even going to host it again next year, what changes do you think that you would offer up or suggestions you would give to Harry to make it an even better event?
All the suggestions. I would like to have more teams. Don't ask me why. I just thought what we had, I think we had 23 was nice, but would like it to be like kind of full-fledged Kansas City style, up to 50 teams, but with prize awards, cash awards.
What about you guys from Rooster Q? If you went back again next year, or from your experience last month, things that you might like to see tweaked up a little bit, or added or changed?
The one thing I would have really liked to see was maybe an overnight camping situation. It was just kind of difficult getting there at 5:30 in the morning and not really knowing where you're supposed to be. It's completely pitch black, and you're trying to set up your equipment, and you're supposed to have a meat turned out in a couple hours, and you still have everything frozen in your cooler. And that was one of the challenges we faced with having to show up at that time. It'd be nice to set up the night before, get a good night rest, and have everything ready and prepped to go in the morning.
If you guys, let me stay with Taylor and Kevin here. If you guys had to cook a brisket, if they took out tri-tip instead and said, okay, well, it's going to be brisket instead, would that have presented as much of a challenge as a tri-tip? Would you have felt more comfortable or less comfortable? Because obviously the next step from here would be considering going to a traditional KCBS contest.
Well, tri-tip allows a couple hours of cooking time. A brisket is sometimes 10 hours or more with resting time, so you would have to do an overnight cook for a brisket, and that let this contest go early in the morning with the tri-tip only. We certainly, Kevin here, we certainly have less experience cooking briskets just because of the time, but I don't know if it would necessarily be something that would keep us from getting into the contest. I think brisket's got an advantage over tri-tip because brisket, you kind of know what the judges are going to want. Tri-tip was, we didn't actually do as well on our tri-tip, and part of that reason was we cooked the tri-tip that we thought had a really fish and flavor profile, but I think that there's kind of like a wild west out there with tri-tip as far as expectations for flavor. So we really had a blast cooking it, but I think the next step will be the KCBS where we can try more defined flavors.
Steve, if they took the tri-tip away and offered you a brisket, do you feel just as confident, or did you not feel confident with tri-tip? What did you think about the protein on that aspect?
Oh, the tri-tip was cool. I knew I could pretty fast. So what I did probably a couple days before, I set out a time schedule to cook all my proteins. So you throw in brisket, I can cook that just as well. I just need a little more time.
Yeah, obviously a little bit more time. But again, you guys were kind of as Steve and Taylor, or I'm sorry, Taylor and Kevin said that you guys were a little bit time restricted just for that course of the day. So unless everybody was cooking hot and fast, we probably wouldn't get a traditional size brisket done in that amount of time, given the rest and all that other stuff. Aside from the Harry Sue's cooking class, which everybody's taking here on the round table, Steve, you ever given any consideration to taking an additional class, whether it be through a different sanctioning body or a different pitmaster?
Well, actually, like I said earlier, Danny Koopel from Pit Bowls Up in Smoke, I took his class 2 weeks prior to Harry's competition, and it helped me really get a good edge, on this competition.
Taylor and Kevin, any consideration of additional cooking classes? What do you think?
I love taking cooking classes. It's actually one of like a hobby of mine. So I've only taken the one barbecue class, but I'm excited to take more. But I travel a fair amount internationally, and whenever I travel, I try to take a local cooking class. So in the same note, as I start to travel more throughout the United States, I'm going to add barbecue cooking classes. It's just part of my trip.
Kevin and Taylor, if you guys have any thoughts or hopes of making a great YouTube audition tape and getting on Barbecue Pitmasters at some point? Is that a goal at all?
I think that would be really cool to do. I know Steve submitted something, and I was thinking about doing something. I think a little bit more experience in that type of cooking and barbecue in general, because the Pitmaster show is set up as kind of random. You get random meats, and it's usually 2 different meats. So, and it's not usually the same KCBS 4-meat category, but kind of an offshoot of it sometimes. So just taking more classes or getting more experience in just barbecue alone would help a lot.
And I love the idea of putting together a YouTube video thing for it. I think it sounds like a blast. I've always heard that I have a face for radio, but I could try out YouTube.
Yeah, you and me both. Steve, any thoughts about trying your hand at Barbecue Pitmasters at some point?
Well, actually, I got my second interview after I sent in my tape.
Ooh.
And I'm just hoping to be the wild card for California.
Is that... I'm trying to think of the best question to ask here, Steve, so I apologize for my lack of asking. Is it just to say that you were on? Do you want to try your hand against some other pitmasters? Would you hope to potentially parlay it into billions and billions of dollars? Like, what's the win for you to be on?
The win for me is to compete with the winners of Q. And I think I can go pretty good today and give them a good run of money. And I wouldn't mind parlaying that into a nice barbecue company.
We're talking with Steve Botkin, and we're also talking with Taylor Jonathan and Kevin Shalert from Rooster Q. They are the reserve grand champions. Steve, obviously, the grand champion from the Harry Sue's Backyard event from last month. Guys, before I let you go, and we'll start with Steve, anything you'd like to promote, websites, Facebook pages, or anything?
Yeah, my team is Outlaw, registered barbecue associations, and my website is outlawbarbecue.com.
And you guys from Rooster, Taylor and Kevin, anything that you'd like to promote or anything that you're selling, anything like that?
We're not selling anything, but we just want to encourage more young people to get out there and try their hand at competing. We had a blast being the youngest people out there by 20 years. And we think if more and more young people get involved in this community, it could really light a fire underneath it.
No pun intended, of course. I absolutely don't. Steve Botkin, Outlaw Barbecue, Taylor Jonathan, and Kevin Shalert, Rooster Q. Guys, really appreciate you being on tonight, and good luck in future barbecue competitions.
Thank you.
You got it.
Thank you, Greg.
There they are. 3 budding barbecue superstars, Outlaw and Rooster Q. Am I back? Am I off again? You got to be kidding me. What? Am I off? Can somebody see me? You got to be kidding me. Yeah, back on for me. All right. I don't know. I didn't change the quality of the video. It's still the same old crappy me, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah! I do have the ability to tell when I drop the internets because of the radio side of things. I get a little thing that's like one of those little beep, 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 and then it drops down like I'm having a heart attack. Let me talk to you for a few minutes about the longest sponsor of the show, located in Warminster, Pennsylvania, the Barbecue Guru. Gang, maybe you were thinking about getting a automatic temperature control device for Christmas. Maybe you didn't get one. Don't delay any longer. Maybe your gift giver wasn't that great. Buy yourself your own gift from the Barbecue Guru. Now, maybe you're not familiar with how these little beauties work. I don't like getting into the minute details all the time, and I'm not going to do it here, but imagine a product that allows you to set your pit temperature in one set, keeps it running at that set temperature all the way through the cook. Sound too good to be true? It's not. This is real life. You can take advantage of it today. This is the technology of today and tomorrow. Maybe you're a busy working professional. Perhaps you are constantly on the run with the kids and doing errands, and quite frankly, you just don't have the time to set around and tend pit temperature. The Guru allows you to throw on a pork butt or a brisket or a couple slabs of ribs, and then you're off to do whatever it is you need to get done. And the Barbecue Guru maintains the pit temperature you set it at. There are currently a number of different models to choose from. You have that CyberCube Wi-Fi, If you don't want to go super teched out, you can go CyberQ 2. There's the DigiQ DX2, and of course that new unit, the Party Q, at $129 for most cooker. Party Q, easiest point of entry into the pit temperature control device world. It's a self-contained package. It runs on AA batteries. You can put it on a Weber Smoky Mountain. You can put it on a Charbroil cooker. You can put it on even a Weber kettle grill. And if you spend an extra $10, you can get a special adapter while you put it on any of those ceramic cookers as well, like the Big Green Egg, the Primos, the Grill Domes, the Bubba Kegs, whichever version Bubba Keg you might have. What the hell is that noise? Scary noises in the basement, people. Scary noises. So there you go. It's the Barbecue Guru, thebbqguru.com, or call them toll free, 800-288-GURU. The Barbecue Guru, a breakthrough in barbecue technology. We'll battle it out with Heath Hall coming up about the 2013 25 most influential people in barbecue. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs. And the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, we are back. 877-448-0433. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. My final guest tonight created a scent of controversy a few years back with the introduction of the first barbecue-scented fragrance called Q Cologne, and just before the end of the year 2013 generated a whole new level of controversy with their list of the 25 most influential people in barbecue. Oh, they also happen to be a very successful business and barbecue competition cooking team, so let's race over to the hotline and welcome back friend of the show, Heath Hall from Pork Barrel Barbecue. Heath, how are you, buddy?
Good, man. Happy New Year. How's it going?
Happy New Year to you as well, Heath. And I am trying to find your picture up here. Give me 1 second here. Locate screen region. There's Heath right there. And, oh, come on. This thing. Computers are the worst when they don't work, Heath. I swear. Man, oh, man.
It can be a pain.
There we go. Look at that. Handsome fella if I've ever seen one. All right, so let me immediately stick up for you in regards to this list in a general sense. You know, I assume that you and Brent sat down and used some set of criteria to devise the list and agree or disagree with it. You went out on a limb and you made your choices. You guys put yourself, you put the brand out there to take both the praise and the hits that you probably inevitably knew that would come. And not like other sites for like people of the year by voting is left up to like a popularity contest. I mean, that's all BS, right? I mean, you guys did it the right way, men with testicles saying, this is what we think, and, you know, like it or suck it.
Well, yeah, you know, we last year traveled as far west as San Francisco, as far south as Mobile, Alabama, as far east as New York City, and as far north as Rochester. So we pretty much hit all parts of this country. This list kind of came out of our conversations with people, all kinds of events, from barbecue competitions we cook, to the food shows, to the grocery store demos we do, special events that we do, just to in conversations in general. As we're traveling around the country, you know, we pull into a gas station, our smoker on the back of the truck, and a lot of times in conversation. And so a lot of this list came from those experiences, as well as just our own personal experiences with many of the folks on the list, and many people within the barbecue world, and what they you know had passed along to us in conversation. It's certainly not the only list. I bet if you had 100 people do this list, you'd have 100 different lists with probably somewhere between 100 and 125 different people making the list at least once.
Heath Hall joining me here on the show. But, you know, the list, kind of like for your opening up conversation, you're trying to obviously generate clicks and get people to go to the website, but talk about what's happening in the industry and maybe about some people that you think are influential to you guys at Pork Barrel.
Yeah, you know, for us at Pork Barrel, you know, there's two guys on that list that particularly come to my mind. Rod Gray, he kind of took us under his wings early on in our competition life, and we had the opportunity to cook contest with him and learn from him. So we certainly have been very much influenced by him. As I think I've never taken this class, but I know hundreds, thousands of folks out there have taken this class and have become very, very successful as a result of it. So I think Rod is one. And then on a more business-related area, the person who's probably been most influential to us in our company has been Sweet Baby Ray, Dave Raymond. Dave, of course, has a track record in the industry in the barbecue sauce world. No longer owner of Sweet Baby Ray's, but today dwarfs any other barbecue sauce as far as sales and volume, and being the most popular barbecue sauce in the world. And Dave, not just for us, I know a number of other folks in the industry that Dave has taken a personal interest in and been very influential in seeing them hopefully have the same kind of success that he was able to have. But an example of 25 people not being very many, another guy on our list would have been Pat Burke. A lot of people maybe don't know the name Pat Burke, but they certainly recognize the name Mike Smith. And Pat was Mike's partner with the Apple City barbecue team when they won so many Memphis and Mays, and just had something like they won 100 contests out of 105 contests they cooked or something like that. And we met Pat our first time cooking Memphis in May, and to this day he remains one of our key influencers. But there are a lot of people on the list, I think, that are influencing the overall world of barbecue, not just the competition area. Obviously John Marcus has allowed for barbecue to find more of a prominent place on television, which is still one of the most important influencers out there in the general public. And I think that's one important thing to note too. There are only a few thousand of us hardcore competition barbecuers. There are tens of millions of backyard barbecuers, tens of millions of home cooks that maybe fire up their grill once or twice a month. And I was looking, who are the people influencing? And a lot of people don't know John Mark in that realm, but they're watching his shows, and when we see him, they start talking to us about people like Tuffy and Myron and Johnny and folks that they see on that show. And so, I think John Marcus not only is expanding the reach of barbecue, but he's growing a lot of others out work, like the folks I just mentioned.
Heath, let me drop you real quick, and I'm going to call you right back.
Okay.
All right, hold on 1 second here. See if I can get a better connection. I was hearing it on my end, but maybe you weren't getting it as good. I don't know. All right. Can you hear me there, Heath?
I can hear you.
All right, perfect. So I pretty much agree with everything you said. So was there no hard and fast criteria where things needed to be met in order for people to get on the list, per se?
No, we listed very, very first post on the blog. We listed a set of criteria that included everything from contribution to the barbecue in America, levity. Is it somebody that's brand new, or is it somebody that's been around for years and years and been able to continually have success in barbecue? Innovation, somebody that has like a Jamie Gear, for example, on the list. He's definitely been an innovator as far as smokers, and folks out there desiring a Jambo and others using some of the things that he's come up with in their own. So innovation is important. Obviously, competition success, professional success. This could be anything from restaurants to gadgets to smokers and grills to books. Name recognition was one of the big factors. Someone like a famous Dave, probably one of the most recognizable names barbecue, just as a result of the successes of his restaurant, his being on television quite frequently with commercials, the financial impact of barbecue. Somebody like a Ronnie Cates, for example, who is on the list, he has totally taken competition barbecue to the next level as far as financial for us competitors, and that allows competitors that maybe in the past wouldn't have been out there to go out there if they're successful That then translates to restaurants or barbecue sauces or rubs or books. So I think that, how are you impacting the world financial of barbecue? And, those are kind of the basic ones that we looked at. And as I said, it was also a combination of our travels and conversations around the country.
Let's talk about a couple of things that really seem to piss people off. One was, why not? Yeah. Why are you trying to blow my thunder just like that? You know I'm going to get to that. So now let's leave that off to the side for now so people forget about it so I look like a hero circling back around. I call them the groups, backyarders winning number one, competition cooks being somewhere, barbecue judges. People don't like the mass pick of people. Evidently, they want to see a little bit more individuals. Why the groups of people?
Yeah, why those three individual groups have a huge amount of influence on the world of barbecue. Starting from the judges going to number one, where we picked the backyard barbecue. We couldn't do what we do every Friday, Saturday, Sunday around the country throughout the year if it weren't for the volunteers who give their time to come out and judge contests. And a lot of the people that are on this list, a lot of the more influential folks in barbecue, and many of them that could have easily been on this list that didn't make the list, they wouldn't have the careers and the successes and the influence that they do if it weren't for some of their successes on the competition circuit. If there were no judges, there wouldn't be that success. And I wanted to, and obviously they're the most influential people for, the 25 to 100 teams on Saturday, turning in their four categories in the world of barbecue for us. Judges, they're our fate every weekend on every category. And so I wanted to include them as a way of recognizing what they do for the sport of barbecue, and in a greater sense of what they do. As we mentioned a little bit earlier with Ron Kay, the financial impact, what kind of competition barbecue has led to. The competition cook, they're a huge factor in a lot of product out there. What smokers and grills are selling, what sauces and rubs are selling. A lot of this has to do with the guys and gals out there every weekend that are trying the new flavor profiles, testing new products, and making some of them sink and some of them swim. And whole new industries have been created around different gadgets that we use on the weekend. You mentioned the Barbecue Guru. You're one of your great sponsors, great guys up in Pennsylvania, and I don't know what percentage of their products are versus competition, but you go to any competition, I bet 80% of the folks out there have a guru or something similar to it. So that I think is important. And then number one to me was a no-brainer. There's a few thousand of us competition cooks out there. There's a few, probably more thousands of sauce and restaurateurs out there. But there are millions and millions that are backyard cooks. 317 people in this country, I think, if I remember right, in 2011, the Hearth and Patio Association did a study, and that's how many people in this country a year barbecued at least once. Those are people coming and going indoors, purchasing sauces, coming to restaurants, watching the TV shows, reading the publications and such. So without the backyard barbecuer, there would be no Weber kettle. There would be no Sweet Baby Ray's. There would be none of the major financial influencers that exist today because of them.
All right, now, no surprise that sitting at number 2, Bobby Flay got probably the most reaction as being like, whoa, I saw a lot of this. I agreed with everything up until number 2, and now everything sucks. I mean, you make one bad choice or one controversial decision, and the list is, now in muck and mire. So if I'm playing both sides of the fence here, look, Bobby Flay generates the most lightning rod attention of somebody who shouldn't be, people feel like he shouldn't even be associated with it, that he is somehow hoarded out or just kind of attached himself, but is no barbecuer or griller by any stretch of the fascination. People don't like his attitude or the way he comes off. Now, look, I'm a New Yorker. I was born, raised in New York. Maybe I just understand his demeanor and attitude. I also know that he's very big in the ponies, and I love the ponies, so we have that thing going for us as well. I don't, maybe in years past, I could actually make a case for him being number one, maybe multiple years in a row with the efforts that he had on the Food Network and the cookbooks and all the different products that he had out. I don't necessarily have a problem with him being at number two, but people really had a problem with him being at number two. Why number two?
Well, I think we could add all the other people, individual people that were on that list, taking away the three kind of groups. So the other 21 people, add them together, and they probably don't have the influence that him as a single individual does. He clearly has the biggest platform in the food world right now, being one of the 2 or 3 biggest names on the Food Network. Certainly longevity. He goes way back to the beginning of the Food Network in the early 90s with that.
And we're out.
Get that big stuff out of here.
All right. It's that damn jerky beef. Yeah, total ego. All right. Sometimes you're there and sometimes you're not. Yep, again. All right. Heath.
Yeah. You there?
Yeah, I just dropped out.
All right. Can you hear me?
Well, yes, I do.
Okay. I'm not sure where what you last heard, but I was just basically saying that, I think Bobby Flay, his reach far outreaches anyone else in the grilling barbecue industry. That was another thing that we should talk about is, how do you define barbecue? That was a big discussion that came out. Is barbecue only low and low, in a whole hog or a brisket? Or is it being in your backyard, doing something as simple as throwing a hot dog on the Weber kettle? I would argue that it is as much a verb as it is a noun. It's about getting together and a community event, telling stories, catching up with friends and family. I don't think it necessarily has to be, hanging out for 24 hours while you cook a huge chunk of meat. So I think, even when he's grilling, I would say that he's barbecuing. I think that the vast majority of Americans would probably define barbecue as something in the realm of hot dogs, hamburgers, and steaks, as much as that pains all of us probably. They're not thinking a 20-pound brisket. So I think that his reach is just so much further out there than anybody's because of the platform. He has some of the most successful books, and his most recent show, Barbecue Addiction, which I find it to be a really interesting show. He's got a really great number of smokers and grills that he's using out there, everything from big green eggs to Webers to an Argentine style grill, and I think he's innovative, using just the same regular spices and flavors we expect from barbecue, the traditional flavors, which I love. But I also love that he's taking these items and putting spins on them. A lot of them, are spins from other parts of the country. And so to me, I think that if we were to ask 100 people and we were to list all 20 names that we have on there, there's no question in my mind that he would be recognized by twice as many as probably anybody else on that list. Maybe a famous who's on TV so would be up there, but I really think that, and I know people have some issues with his personality. I've met him a few times, and he's been very gracious to us, has given us some great tips and advice, and I think he inspires a lot of backyard barbecuers.
Heath Hall joining me here on the show, and you can find him at Pork Barrel Barbecue. That's porkbarrelbbq.com. And, of course, the rubs, the sauces, all doing extremely well. We're running out of time. I knew this topic would be taking up in a firestorm pace, but I appreciate you coming on tonight and kind of working through that list with me, and we'll talk to you soon.
You bet. Thanks for having me, and Happy New Year, buddy.
You got it. Happy New Year to you as well. Heath Hall, ladies and gentlemen, from Pork Barrel Barbecue. Anybody see me? All right. No iGrill Mini tonight. By the way, I want to tell you, if you won a free iGrill Mini in those 5 giveaways end of the year, I do have a note into iDevice, and I will try and get a time frame on those. I don't know if those are technically out for sale yet or not, but we will see what we can do. The iGrill, of course, is a Bluetooth-enabled cooking thermometer that pairs with your Apple or Android device using the free iGrill Pro app, which can be downloaded in the iTunes Store or the Google Play Store. A Bluetooth range up to 200 feet. You can monitor your food from practically anywhere in the house. Gives you the free time to do what you want, when you want to. The assurance that the food is being cooked perfectly. Go watch the game, have a beer, have 4, mow the lawn. Shovel the driveway. iGrill's got your food covered. iGrill has dual probe capability, so you can monitor 2 different pieces of meat at once. You can also measure the ambient temperature of your smoker or grill using the ambient temperature probe that can be purchased at iGrillInc.com. Now, with the app, you can set minimum and maximum temperature settings. If your grill or smoker gets too hot or too cool, your smart device will alert you. If you enter promo code CENTRAL at checkout, you get 15% off everything at iGrillInc.com. Don't forget they also offer free U.S. shipping on all orders of $50 or more. The free iGrill app for iOS has Facebook integration, so you can upload your pictures of what you're cooking right to the Facebook iGrill page. And the app also has a globe feature, so you can not only see yourself, but all the other iGrillers out there in the whole wide world. And don't forget, for half the price, that's right, $39.99, you can get the iGrill Mini. Has everything you love about the iGrill, but so much more. With a smart LED that indicates the progression of your temperature and lets you know when you're in and out of temperature range, proximity wake up, and an outstanding 150 hours of battery life. It's great. You go to iGrillInc.com or iDevicesinc.com/iGrill to order yours. Happy to have them. We'll wrap up this show coming right up next. Stick around. Be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, we're back. Now I'm sure everything's fine, right? Audio's good, video's good, what have you. Apologize. We'll try and get some of those technical issues worked out. Patrick's iGrill Mini arrived Christmas Eve. Of course it did. Santa! Quickly, let me get out on time. All the way back in the first hour, we talked with Dr. Barbecue Ray Lampe for the Ask Dr. Barbecue segment. Appreciate that. Kevin Bevington, outdoor cooking channel creator, and HomeBBQ.com pitmaster, Home Barbecue. In the second hour, we had our talk with the roundtable of the Harry Sue's Groovin' Backyard event. Steve Botkin, Taylor Jonathan, and Kevin Shalert. And we close the show with Heath Hall from Pork Barrel Barbecue talking about the 2013 25 most influential people in barbecue. A big show planned next week. I will try and get these technical internet issues resolved, and we will all be moving forward. Great to be back. Great to have you in the saddle with me. And until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, September 11th, 2001, I will never forget. And man, I just love being with you guys. All right, we'll see you back here next Tuesday. Peace out, Girl Scout. We are out.